Hey everybody, this is Mr. Miller. This video is really like a composite of a bunch of little videos, but instead of making little videos, I want to do it all in one fell swoop, so I'm going to talk about this. So first thing we're going to do is if you're watching this video, you may have missed class or you need a refresher about a timed essay. So a timed essay is an essay where the writer has a certain amount of time to answer a question. The question is an opinion and does not have a wrong or a right answer. In a timed essay, it does not matter if the writer finishes, it is about making the best argument possible. So usually the question is going to be something that is divisive, which means that it's going to divide people in half. It's usually a question that's borderline political or a question that has a very hard answer, but it can be answered through an opinion. So as long as you have an opinion and you speak your mind and you're honest about it, and it makes sense, you should get all the points. So, and it's not about rushing through. It's about just writing as best as you can in a short amount of time. I'm not expecting everybody to get 5 paragraphs done. Actually, on the contrary, someone could write an essay and have all 5 paragraphs done, but if it doesn't make sense or have good arguments, they could still fail. Where someone who is slower and has 2 paragraphs, that would be much better and they get a higher grade. So there are rules to timed essays when you get older, when you get to high school and college, even when we take the forward test in May. There's just rules that you have to follow. So even though that I'm not expecting everyone to have 5 paragraphs, there's a minimum of 2. You need to have at least 2 paragraphs. I say this because in an essay there is a beginning, an introduction paragraph and a conclusion. And if you only wrote 1 paragraph, that means you only did the intro, which then means that you didn't actually write down anything concrete, so that's not good. I need 2 because the first body paragraph is at least your minimum first idea. Number 2, do not worry about spelling or grammar. It is expected that there will be mistakes because you are under a time crunch. I'm totally expecting people to make spelling and grammar errors. Totally expect that. So once you have your opinion, do not change your mind. Changing your mind wastes time. So if you're just sitting there thinking about things, you're going to waste time. You really will truly waste time. You just need to stick with it. It's hard, but it's just what you have to do. Do not ask for anybody else's opinions because I want to know what you and only you think. I know that's kind of silly because we're in a class and you might bounce an idea off someone, but in a timed test, I only want your opinion, nobody else's. Do not work on this essay outside of class. I'm going to be a stickler about this because when you go to high school or college and you are doing a timed essay, you can't be like, I'm going to take this and go home and work on it. Usually your professor no, you have to do it here, right now. And if you don't, then you just get a 0. And that is my expectation with this as well. If you don't do what you need to do in class, you can't just take it outside of class and work on it. That's not how it works. It's just not going to work. You're going to get a 0. All right, so your timed essay question is, should America have the death penalty, yes or no, and why? So either yes, the United States has the death penalty, or no, they should not. And it's one or the other, and you need to pick. And if you're watching this video, it means we have talked about all the pros and cons of the death penalty. You should have some ideas about where you stand and your reasons why. Okay, so next thing I'm going to show you is how I'm grading you. The rubric is very similar to any other essay, except I'm changing it a little bit. So you're going to be graded on argument, reasoning, organization and progression, and time management. And when you are writing, the main thing I'm looking for is a good argument. So if you've convinced me 100% of your argument, the death penalty should exist because of A, B, or C, or the death penalty should not exist because of reasons 1, 2, 3, you get all your points. But maybe if you made a mistake and maybe one of them doesn't make sense, it'd be 80. If it was more, it'd be 60, then 40, then 20, then a 0. Your reasoning. So you have your argument, but you need to have reasons behind it. So for example, if you're for the death penalty, you could be like, well, there's people out there that blow up buildings and kill innocent people. They should be killed because they killed and took lives of innocent people. It could be the exact opposite too. I'm like, well, that death penalties can go terribly wrong and a person could suffer while they're dying. Both of those things that I just stated for both sides make complete sense. So if I were to flip-flop those arguments and say the death penalty doesn't work because people kill other people and they should be put to death, that doesn't make any sense. So as long as your reasoning makes sense, you'll get all your points. So it goes down the list too. If 80% of it makes sense, you'll get 80%, and then 60, then 40, then 20. Organization and progression is exactly the same as it was with a regular essay. So in the end, it will be MLA formatted. You're going to have time to do that. If it can't be formatted correctly, you will lose points. That's the very basic minimum you should have. Okay. And the last is time management. So I'm going to be watching. I'm not just going to be sitting around. I'm going to be watching and seeing who's using their time wisely. Everybody should get 100% with the time management spot, because if you're doing your work and working really hard, you should get all your points. It's that really simple. Okay. The last thing we're going to do is just show you what the graphic organizer looks like. And I'm going to do it and write some stuff down that you can use just for this one time. So in our essay, it's shorter. Timed essays are shorter because you're talking, you don't need to quote anything because there's no reason to. It's just legitimately just, your opinion. So for a hook, I will do something like this. Something like this. The death penalty is good for America. Or I could say something as simple as this, that I would simply go and say your reasoning for it, which would be right. So I wrote, the death penalty is good for America because it stops people from committing bad crimes. It gives killers the punishment they deserve, and it gets rid of killers from society. Okay, some of it's kind of redundant, but that's the basic gist of it. So I could also do the death penalty is bad So I have something. The death penalty is bad for America because people that are executed can suffer while being killed. Executions allow normal people to become killers, and execution costs a lot of money. So you have your three reasons, and then you go through the paragraph, and then you talk about it right here. So the first thing you would do would be just simply, if you're doing this, you want the death penalty, you could put in right here, or you could go down and be like, the death penalty is bad, and then you have your first reason right here. Okay? And then after that, you explain it. So I'm going to do the pro first. So you go to explain your reasoning. So for the death penalty one, I say the death penalty scares people. If a person is thinking about killing somebody or becoming a terrorist, they have to realize that they will be killed if they get arrested. Or you could say, many times people suffer when they are executed. It is not okay to have somebody suffer while they die. I'm going to add a little bit more. No matter what the reason is. Okay, so you have your two reasons, and then down here, what you do is you just end it by saying, this is one reason why America needs the death penalty, and this is one reason why America does not need the death penalty. And then after that, I'm not going to do it because that's like, you should know how to do it. But then you do body paragraph 2, same thing with your second reason. You explain it, closing sentence, wrap it all up. Body paragraph 3 is the same thing. And then what you should have is your closing paragraph, which is your fifth one. So, and again, this is all for you at your fingertips. Like, you can use any of these things down here that Ms. Scheich and I and Mr. Loss and Ms. Bierenbach have created for this, for any sort of sentences. So please use that for your benefit. Thank you for watching this video. Good luck on your essay.